Okay, so this is gonna be the first time I'm doing this. I've always wanted to do this for a while. Um, it's basically me talking about Chelsea, and I've always, wanted to do this for a while. But today I saw a tweet on Twitter. But I saw a tweet by my guy Miz. The other side of the coin. Well, he's not really my guy. But he put out this tweet basically saying Chelsea should go for Frenkie De Jong. And, you know, some of my favorite people, some of the big Twitter celebrities, the big dogs, they kind of commented on the tweet. You had Vince, you had Monster, you had Ma, you know, the biggest dogs. Some of the big names in the Chelsea Twitter community basically just commented, and I was looking at the consensus around um, their ideas about Chelsea going for Frankie De Jong. And, well, Mrs. Tweet kind of goes like this. Seriously, why aren't Chelsea in a conversation for Frankie De Jong? A player that can transition from 6 to a 8 to a 10, easily play as the deepest midfielder like the way Tuchel wants. And the consensus basically is, well, we don't really need his profile, his midfield profile or whatever it is. We need a Rice or Sangari or whoever that they have in the back of their mind, and that's all well and good. But I have an issue with that, and that's why I decided to make this video, because I have a big issue with that. Is the fact that the idea of the profile that we need is not based off how Chelsea have played. It's not based off of, it's based off this idea of what we should play or how we should play, what formation we should play. Everybody has this opinion that we should play 4-3-3, because I don't know. And I think that's a bad way of looking at it, right? We need a midfield destroyer. We need, a Mikel Regen or whoever it is. But I completely disagree. At least I disagree for now, because the way I would look at it is basically we need to sign. Actually, we need to look at our flaws as a team from last season, from the season before, and fix those. We don't necessarily have, and it's the same issue we had with signing Lukaku in the first place. Timo Werner worked perfectly fine. He had two big issues. Anytime he gets one-on-one, he cannot dribble to save his life. So he has speed, but he can't dribble to save his life in certain situations. And he does not finish. Period. Those were the only two flaws that our striker had. The speed worked perfectly fine. The way we played, how we got in positions, and we consistently got in good positions with Timo. But his flaws were he could not dribble in certain situations. Maybe he finds himself on the left and he tries to cut in and he doesn't have the ability to. Or the numerous times he always seems to not score. But yeah. So when we wanted to go for a striker, for me it was pretty straightforward. Well, find somebody that has what Timo does in regards to movements, in regards to speed, and that could finish and possibly is a better dribbler. That's it. In fact, the dribbling was not that important because Timo's not supposed to be there anyway. So it's like, okay, that would be like the best case scenario, is somebody who could also dribble. Cool. But the most important part was we needed somebody who could score. Period. We needed Timo that could score. Simple as that. But, and that was my objection when Chelsea decided to go for Lukaku, because I'm looking at it from a perspective that our team is good. We have a good team. We just need, because we created chances. This is not Lampard's era. This is not before when it was hard to create chances. We were doing pretty well. It's just a matter of, whenever we got the ball in these beautiful positions, we never seemed to score. So that was my idea. Like, well, we don't need to go and buy, somebody with a whole different profile where we literally have to change the way we play completely. No, we just have to buy somebody that could do what this one person does not do. C'est fini. But we decided to go for Lukaku, and I could show 20,000 tweets of this a lot of Twitter celebrities at Chelsea basically saying it's a good move. He wants to come back and I don't know, vengeance, or come back and whatever it is. It's a nice story. It makes a nice ad copy or whatever it is. But that's not the reality, because I'm just looking at it from a perspective that our team is good. We have certain flaws that have shown themselves, and before we decide to say, well, this is not working, why don't we play to the best of our ability? Like the way we're playing right now, that happens to be fine. Let's just go and fix that. And if we fix that and it then doesn't work, then, Tuchel is someone, he always changes. So he could be like, okay, you know what? Then let's switch to this. But our three at the back, whatever we play, 3-4-3, works perfectly fine. But for a lot of those people, they have this idea. They're not looking at what is missing. Because from what I remember, before James and Chilwell got injured, we were top of the world. I happened to be at Stamford Bridge for the first time in my life as a Chelsea fan in November, and I saw the win against Juventus, and we were balling. So I don't know what was wrong with that. You have this idea that, our most creative players should not be our wingbacks. That's cool. They were very important. They have an issue with the fact that they're that important. I don't understand what does it matter who is the most important on the pitch. Van Dijk is not a scorer. They had Salah, they had Mane, they have all these beautiful people, but still Van Dijk got injured and it was wraps. Their season was over. That's one player. He's important. So, I get it, right? But, this real world or this ideal world situation where that's cool, right? And why not look to upgrade our attackers then, as opposed to, well, we have to change the way we play completely? I completely disagree. And I reiterate, at least for right now, we have to play the best game possible, have the best setup possible with this formation, where we only have a couple of things that need to be fixed before we decide, let's change this completely. So they're talking about De Jong, right? To be honest, I already thought about this when I saw that he will be available for as little as 50 million. I'm like, oh wait, what? I was like, okay, let's jump on this guy, because this guy is basically J5, Jorginho, but younger, faster. Because to me, the one big flaw, actually two, but the one big flaw for Jorginho as a DM or the deepest line midfielder is the fact that in transitions, well, when in those transitions that it happens to be close to him, he's too slow sometimes to actually win the ball back. Because if it's not about speed, he actually wins the ball back pretty well. He's a good defender of the ball, and I don't care what anybody has to say. He knows how to make an interception. He knows how to make a tackle. But the one time, if somebody has a little bit more speed and they just push the ball past him, it's wraps, because he is not fast. So to me, that is the flaw. And for me, it's basically, he's not the best DM, right? I don't know how many best DMs, how many of them exist. But the reality, he brings certain things to our team. Because when he's not playing, somehow we lose balance. We lose, we basically lose our metronome, our register, and everything just goes out the window. But when he's there, everything works fine, except when, those one transitions every now and then. So for me, it's basically like, and the second flow will be in attack. The fact this guy doesn't just sit, because Chelsea typically has most of the ball. So I don't know. I'm gonna go and search for footage, but he happens to find himself in very nice positions a lot of the time. And what he does is he's scared to shoot. And it always fascinates me, because you are a penalty taker, so you know how to score, but you don't know how to shoot. But it is what it is. But he finds himself in his positions a lot of the time, and he's so scared to shoot that he would slow down the attack or hold the ball or turn. So if you have somebody, right, who plays like Jorginho, so we're not losing anything. We're not losing our balance. We're not losing someone with vision, someone who could pass, someone with some ball control, someone who could turn midfielders around in that center. If someone with a little bit more strength, because he's very skinny, with a little bit more strength, so maybe you could hold your own when they try to bully you, right? Somebody like that, and then a little bit more speed, and then could also score. For me, that's a win. That's all we need right now. Cool. So, I know Chouamani is probably perfect, right? But well, I don't know. But what we've been told this past few months is, or weeks actually, is the fact that he's going to Madrid. So the reality is, if Chouamani is going to Madrid, that means he's not available. So who's next? We've seen links about Sangari. People are talking about Rice, bro. Like the only place where Rice is good is in the plate, but that's by the way. Um, but we have Frenkie De Jong, someone who's 25, 26. Someone the world was basically clamoring for. Somebody who played center back, DM for Ajax. So basically, he can do the dirty work. He's also fast, can score. He's a good midfielder. So if we're trying to replace Jorginho, especially if he's 29, probably going to be 30 this year, he wants to go back to Italy, we do not need to change the way we play, right? Because that takes a lot more training. Because if you watch our games last season where there was no Jorginho on the pitch, it took a while for the team to figure out how to actually do this. With Conte and Kovacic, it did not really work. We needed somebody like Jorginho. Now we could, TT could go out and probably, train and make sure we, happen to have a way out. But we don't have, Kovacic is not that good of a creative midfielder, right? He got better, but he's not, that person to thread the pass consistently. Conte is Conte. So our deep lying guy has to be the one that does that. So if you're talking about getting, Declan Rice, we also need an attacking midfielder. Is that you're bringing Mason Mount to come and play the CAM position or whatever it is. So people were going back and forth and, giving different opinion about, FDJ is a good midfielder, but that's not the profile that we need. And I've just went on and on about that. The profile that we need is actually FDJ. The profile you guys think we need is based off of a formation that you think we should be playing, that we are not playing, that we've not even tried to play. So I don't understand. And the funny thing is, if you want a defensive, you want a DM of that profile, we have Ethan Ampadu. He's coming back. So if you guys all care about, let's help the academy, let's help these young boys. Well, Ethan Ampadu's coming back, and he's a proper DM. So if you want somebody who sits and actually is a proper DM with a lot more passing range, so he's actually, perfect if we're willing to give him a chance. So my dear, if we're going to buy somebody, is that we're buying Chouamani? Cool. Or no, not buying anybody at all. And let's try to use, we gotta keep J5 and see what happens. Because if we keep Jorginho and probably try Ampadu and Gilmore at least for half the season, and TT can make the decision afterwards in January or otherwise. But if we're hell bent on buying somebody, I don't think we could find anybody better than Frenkie De Jong to replace Jorginho. It's as simple as that. So I get it, right? Well, you know what? I take that back. If we could get Chouamani, then case closed. This is done. We don't even have to talk about this. But if what has been said is true, whereby Chouamani is actually chosen to go to Madrid, even though there was an article that came out and he said he is not picked, I don't know. But right now, Chouamani is also, they're saying the price now is 100 million euros. Declan Rice is costing 150 million pounds. And you have Frenkie De Jong that's available for 50, 60. And, Barca they got no choice. So we could find a way. We could, we probably tell them, get Alonso and we give you 50 million. Euros or pounds, whatever it is for Frenkie De Jong. Someone who's younger, faster, with more attacking output, could also carry the ball better. Also is a good defender of the ball as a midfielder. I don't see, to me, it's a win-win. Literally, it's plug and play. We don't have to think too much, try to change a lot of the stuff. So I don't know where we get this idea from, we got to change the profile. But if you really care about that profile, we have Ethan Ampadu. Give him a chance. It is what it is. Because the way I look at it is, at the end of the day, we have to give Ethan Ampadu a chance. I've always said this. There are hundreds of tweets, from maybe last summer of me saying instead of Rice, why not give? Because I believe that Ampadu has all the, characteristics or whatever qualities that Declan Rice has. He hasn't just had the chance, because you cannot tell me Declan Rice as 18 was better than Ethan Ampadu at 18. So, but Declan Rice had consistent game time to actually work on his game. And Declan Rice is actually 24. Ethan Ampadu is still just 21. So even still, he's not, he still has a lot could happen for him. So it is what it is. I'm definitely still going to do another one of this on, what players we should be getting in the summer and things of that nature. But if we're talking about a midfielder, I don't believe we need a midfielder right now. I believe we have other positions to focus on. We have a center back to focus on. We have, I believe, our wingers. We need a refresh on the wings, and probably in a striker as well. We definitely need those more than we need a midfielder at this moment in time. So, for me, if we're going for a midfielder, if we're not going for Chouamani, and if he's not available, if we're not willing to pay the money, I don't think we could do any worse. So actually, we can't do any better than FDJ. That's my honest opinion, right? Because we don't need a carrier. We have Kovacic as a carrier with a little more flair, that could put the tackle in. We have Kante, which is kind of like the same thing. So we need somebody who could be an attacking midfielder. So it's like you have this guy that could play the positions we need the most. So I don't know why we wouldn't do it, to be honest, if we're looking to get a midfielder. And I know we are looking to get a midfielder, but it's not the first choice. It's not our priority. And I believe that 200%. Getting a midfielder we should only be trying to get a midfielder only if somebody leaves. If Jorginho is leaving, if Kante is leaving, okay, now we could go and have that conversation. But if none of them are leaving, right? Or or if Chouamani happens to be available, if we could get Chouamani, well, they don't even have to leave. Just kick him out. Kick Jorginho out. Okay, you know what? Time for you to go, because this guy, the A1 guy, is available. But if Jorginho is still staying, we don't need a midfielder. We have to solve the defense. We have to solve the wings, because we were stale in those positions, 500%. We get there, we can't get past the man. The crosses are off. We can't consistently go. So the priority should be defense and wings. Midfield, last on the list. Except we sell. Except somebody wants to go. Except somebody is gone. But midfield, last on the list. But I don't know what TT's plan is or whatever it is, but if he's really thinking about buying a midfielder, we cannot do better. And I agree with Miz. It's like we can't wait for Manchester United to go snap this guy up. Barca, they don't have bread. They don't have nothing. They're stuck. So if we're talking about long-term planning, and we're really thinking about, well, if Jorginho is going to be gone in a year anyways, because his agent has been talking a whole lot of shit. So if he's going to be gone anyways, then it kind of makes sense to kind of, just get him out right now and you have the perfect replacement for him. And the reality of the matter is probably Kante too is going to be gone in a year or two as well. So then, we figure that out. Right? Maybe next year, if we still need that profile, if TT now wants to play 4-3-3, we could go get their rice, I don't know. Parboiled, basmati, I don't know what kind of rice they like. Biryani, cool. But at least rice is available then, but not at 150 mil. Not at 100, not at 50, bro. That's just my opinion. So, yeah, I just wanted to put this out there. This would probably be my first video. It's kind of funny. I'll figure the specifics later. But this is your boy Tekka talking about Chelsea. So, yeah. First one and done. Peace.